Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial. This one we're going to be looking at making some damage through line tracing. So whereas before you can see that we did some damage systems, oops, where's she gone? We did some damage systems by using a collision box on our enemy's hand. This time we're going to use a line tracing on our enemy's leg when he does some kicks. No method is better than the other. I'd say the line tracing is probably a bit more accurate. However, you can do whichever you want. I just want to show you both ways. Okay, so I'm going to go into my content drawer, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto my skeletal mesh. So on here, you've seen this before with the skeleton tree, but I want to make it so that there is a socket on his knee and a socket on his foot. So my character kicks with his left leg. Yours might be a bit different, but I'm going to go onto the left leg here, and I'm going to add a socket, and I'm just going to call it knee. And then on his left foot, I'm going to add a socket here, and I'm just going to call that one. Okay, so now what we can do is go onto our third person character blueprint, and we can set timer by event. And then we're going to right click, no we're not, sorry, we're going to drag out and we're going to add a custom event here. This custom event, we're just going to call it start line trace. Okay, and then we can just plug it into there. And then out from here, we can line trace by channel. And then we can grab a reference to our mesh. And then we can get socket location. So we called the first one knee. And we called the second one. So we can plug those in there. And then we've got our start and end points for our line trace. So I'm going to change this to camera, and I'm going to change this one to for duration, and then the time. So essentially the way this works is it runs the event as often as it is in the time down here. So if I do 0.1 seconds, then it's going to run this event every 0.1 seconds whilst it's active. And I'm just going to tick looping to yes as well. So at the moment it won't do anything because we don't have anything to call our custom event. So what we're going to do temporarily is just deconnect this here, and we're simply going to get event tick just to test it out. Okay, so now we should see a load of lines. So we can see a load of lines coming from our character's leg. So it's tracing it. And what's essentially going to happen is that my character is going to run into those, and then the character will take damage. So when my character does a kick, you can see that it follows it, and every green marker on there is when my player's leg collides with the character's mesh. So there's no issues with that at the moment, but the only thing is, if I was to walk into the character like that without even kicking her, it's going to cause some issues because it's saying that I've collided with her even though I haven't been kicking her, and it's not really going to cause that much damage. So we need to set it so that the line trace is only active when you're doing your kick. Okay, for this tutorial I'm only going to show you it with one of the kicks, and if you wanted to do it with the punch or the other kick afterwards, you're more than welcome to do so. By the way, just a note, I've disabled my nav mesh temporarily just so my character doesn't interfere with anything, but if I wanted to do that I can just add another nav mesh in, and then my character will be able to walk around again. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go onto our kick that we're going to use. Not the montage. Oh yeah, sorry, the montage. So I'm going to use this kick then, and I'm just going to, well, what we're going to be using is something called a notify for this. So I only want the line trace to happen whilst the leg is in the air. So the way that we're going to use that, the way that we're going to do that is by making a notify. So notifies are awesome for all sorts of things. Notifies can indicate when a certain noise is happening. So if you've got a character walking, you can make it so it notifies when the feet hit the ground. It's good for like snow trails or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to minimize that for a second, open up our content drawer, And we're going to right click and we are going to add a blueprint class. And in that blueprint class, we're going to type in notify state and then notify state. Okay, and we are simply going to call it do line trace. So double clicking on that, you can see that it's pretty blank. So what we need to do is add two override functions. We want a received notify begin and a received notify end. And this is where our custom event comes in. So going back to our third person character blueprint, we can get rid of this event tick and we can plug in the line trace again. And then we're also going to make a new custom event. And we're going to call it end line trace. Oops, I spelled that right. End line trace. Okay, so now we've got those, what we can do is go on to our notify. So on our receive notify begin, we can come out from here and we get all actors of, get actor of class. Put that in there. And then we can select our third person character. And then we can call that event. So we want start line trace. Okay, and then we can copy that. In fact, we don't need to copy both of those, we just need to copy that. And then we want end line trace. So what I'm going to do is right click on the track number 1, add notify state, do line trace, and I'm going to do it between, let's have a look. Probably want it to end about there. Okay. Hopefully this works now. So we can see, yes, so we can see with the other line trace that I'm getting a load of lines. So now if I kick my character, you can see that she gets hit quite a lot. So now what we can do with that all working, we can go back into our third person character blueprint, open that up, and on the line trace by channel we can do some damage. So on the out hit, we're going to right click and we're going to split this pin structure, I can never say that word, and we're going to come out from out hit actor, apply damage, and then we're going to cast to, in fact, you know what, we can get actor of class actually. And then we can do a zombie character in there. Okay, so when an actor is hit, it applies damage, and let us make it so that our zombie character has a health system. So let us go on to zombie character, open her up, and then we will add a variable, call it health, and we'll just do it as a float. Default value can be 5. So let's do it an easier way. Let's go on to third person character again, and then out of here we can set health. Subtract. Get the return value. So the base damage, we can do it as like, let's do 1 point of damage. Hang on, I've done this wrong. Need to attach that one to there, and then we need to get a reference from here to our health and plug that into there. Okay, so essentially what this is saying is when the actor's hit, the base damage is 1, so it will subtract 1 from the current health and set the health to that value. So when we compile, and in fact let's add a print string just to make sure this is working. So let's go into our zombie. Oops. I'll blueprint string, chuck that in there, and then we can see what happens. So at the moment she's on 5 health. So when we kick her, oops, need to be a bit closer, she'll probably immediately lose all that health. Yeah, so she's now on minus 25. That's because I've hit her 25 times there. So all that we need to do for that is go on to our third person character blueprint, and here we just need to add in a node called do once, and then it will only take 1 point of damage away from her theoretically. There we go, so we hit her loads of times, yet she's now only on 4 health. Okay, so that is how you do a combat system and how you cause damage by line tracing. So I hope you've enjoyed these tutorials. I think that was going to be my last one. I might add more to it later down the line, but we'll see. But hopefully you've learned a lot of new skills, and hopefully you've got a working AI.